Who hasn't dreamed at some point of leaving behind the stress of modern life and reconnecting with the calm of nature? They did it. They left behind fear and routine to restore a cabin in the mountains, turn it into their home, and fulfill a dream. Because they know that the biggest risk is not trying.
But you shouldn't be afraid. Look, 2 years ago I learned a lesson. Right when we started the channel, I learned a life lesson. And my mother, overnight, unexpectedly, passed away. And you think, damn, she was working until the very last moment, until the very end, and you look back and say, if my mother could go back now, she wouldn't change a thing. I mean, if I die tomorrow, I want to have enjoyed myself until the very last day, waking up here in the morning, and it's something inevitable. We are who we are. We're here today, tomorrow we might not be, or maybe we will. Since you don't know, there's no reason to be afraid.
How's it going, YouTube family? Today I'm not in Asturias, I'm really close by. I'm in Cantabria because I wanted to bring the story of two women to the channel who left their comfort zone behind, left the city, and even left their jobs to follow a dream. They've come to this incredible place you're seeing here, surrounded by mountains and nature, to restore this cabin. It's an old cabin that they're turning into their own home. No matter where we look, we're surrounded by mountains and nature. It's very similar to Asturias. The vegetation, everything. We're like close cousins. Galicia, Cantabria, it's practically all the same. And well, I felt like taking a trip to really immerse myself with these people who completely set their fears aside to achieve their dreams. You know that I'm in the middle of a project trying to restore an old little house as well. I'm still trying to find the ideal house. It will come someday, don't worry. I know it will, but I don't want to rush into the first opportunity. Also, prices are really expensive in Asturias and I have to be very careful. Today we're going to learn a lot from them and let's see if we can also explore the area, because honestly I'm in love with what I'm seeing here. Surely there's a nearby village where we can talk to someone and, well, see how the local rural people welcome those who come from outside. I'll use this chance to share their social media links since I haven't yet. Now let's go talk to them and see what it's like to change your life. Well, this is their little house. They're probably around here somewhere, but really, look at this location. It's just crazy. Girls, are you there? Hello, good morning. How are you, ladies? Good, you can open it. Does it open here? This is Chero Compasi, yes. Well, I'm honestly amazed. First of all, let me put a mic on you, which is important. I'll put it here on you, for example.
Yes, chest level is fine.
All right, so at least they can hear you, because I have a lot to ask you. What's it like to leave absolutely everything behind to come here? Yeah, I'm starting to get it. It looks like a painting or postcard. But what's it like to leave everything behind to come here, to the mountains?
Well, at first it's overwhelming. Overwhelming mainly because it's unfamiliar, right? It's not what they teach you. It seems like you feel more insecure here. But then when you come, I get up in the mornings, I look out there and I say, whatever God wants will happen.
And I have to tell you that besides, I think you found the perfect location. Yes. Because when I presented the video up there, which I did up here, in the other area, that's kind of the side that faces Galicia, right? The air comes from Galicia, and you can already tell the weather is different. And here you have like a microclimate on this side. I mean, it seemed amazing to me. What is he like? What did you use to do for work before coming here? Well,
I've had quite a few different jobs. I mean, I've worked in many different fields. And, well, in some way, I decided to take a chance and learn about dogs and to understand a bit about what they're like. And I ventured out to work a bit on my own. And then I said, damn, I just don't want that lifestyle of working for others anymore. Always rushing. You never really feel fulfilled in some way. And I didn't want to work for others anymore. And little by little, we've been focusing more and more on our home, on our project, and somehow, well, it's working out for us.
what did you do for work?
I was the complete opposite. I left my home when I was very young and had worked. I started working very young in a warehouse and I was there for many years. After I left, things got chaotic with many ups and downs. It was a tough time and finding a job was hard. Still, I wanted something because I've always needed security. Like, I don't want to be without it. Stability. Very attached to stability. And when I moved up north, because I'm from Albacete, when I moved to Bilbao, I immediately started working at a company, at a fish market, and that's where I've spent the last 13 years. Including 2 years while we were living here, I was still working there, but there was already a conflict of interests between what I wanted and where I was. The thing is, I was holding on there. It was like, okay, but I'm not going to let go of this until we have something secure, because otherwise, who pays for everything?
But well, I think that's what always makes everyone reconsider things, right? Changing the so-called comfort zone. That place where you feel somewhat safe, even if unhappy, you stay just in case, right? Yes.
You get in the car. I used to get in the car every day to leave. And as I was leaving, I would say, where am I going? I want to be here. But of course, this feels safe. And the other thing, we were in limbo. She wasn't working anymore. Because in the end, when you work for yourself, sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. There are good months and bad months. And it was like, no, but I'm not going to let this go. I'm not going to let it go. Until my own body told me, are you going to let it go or are you going to pay for it? And I said, okay.
Let's let go, and you've already left your job completely to dedicate yourselves to your dream, right? Yes, to build your little house here in the mountains.
1 second, I'm going to close it because we have a handmade door that shouldn't open that way.
And you do everything yourselves, right?
So you build everything yourselves? We build almost everything we can.
Did you know anything about construction, or did you just dive in? How did the project begin? I imagine at some point you wondered, a house or a cabin? Which do I choose?
Well, actually, at first we were looking at cabins where the roof was already finished, right? Erica, who has more experience, knows more, has been to many places, and has done construction work. I've always lived in apartments. I liked my city. Getting off work, going down to have a beer, I was comfortable there until one day I wasn't anymore. And I didn't have any experience at all. And we were looking for a place with the roof already done, for this, for that. But suddenly we came across this place with nothing done. And he told me, no problem, we'll do it as we go. And I said, but wait a minute, what's a wheelbarrow? What's a trowel? What do you mean, we'll do it as we go?
Oh, now the wind's picked up.
What are we doing? Suddenly here we are, each doing our part.
Learning as we go too. Honestly, we make a lot of mistakes and then you have to redo things or deal with what you've done and learn from it right now at the same time as you're doing it. It's just that in some way there are many things that have been lost because society has gotten used to a way of life in the city that's too disconnected from nature and from doing things, from having basic knowledge like how to use a shovel, for example. And you have to recover it because our grandparents are dying with all that knowledge, with all that information, and we haven't listened to them. We've left them in nursing homes and they're leaving with a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge, and somehow we're not realizing that loss.
Yes?
Many times, and there are people who beyond knowing how to use a cell phone won't know. I think there must even be young people who almost don't even know where milk comes from. It's just an example, right?
Houses in this autonomous community, it's impressive how many cabins there are. They were built by people who were illiterate. They were illiterate.
They didn't know how to write, and
Those are true works of art.
200 years later, they're still standing.
perfectly plumb.
In our cabin, a spring ran underneath the house and the walls are perfectly plumb.
Great, I can't wait to see it. So let's go to your parents' place and you can show me.
Well, let's see, step by step. There's something I want to share because I think it's really cool and I also think it might even help. When we moved here, the house wasn't like it is now. Well, now when you go in, there aren't even any walls. I mean, it's not really finished, but at least there's a floor. We came here under very different circumstances, but first, Erica is dying to say hi to her cow. Come on, go feed her.
Paquita?
Yara.
You have?
But no, while looking at the queen,
Okay, so you already have hens, you have everything?
yes, and she waits for us to open for her and comes out to eat, and now she'll probably get up here.
Or if not, should I pick her up?
Is this camera new?
This thing you've built, this enclosure, you made it with all reused wood, right? Did you use pallets or how did you build it?
This is a box we brought from Rika's farmhouse that they had abandoned there, and it almost didn't fit for us. We had to cut it with a chainsaw so it would fit in the van. We wedged it in and brought it here just like that. We asked several people for help, which is normal here. If one person can't help, someone else will, and several helped us build the base. Wow.
He's stepping on its butt.
Oh my God, sorry, that's why it's fleeing.
How many do you have? 6 hens?
And this one is Gracia. Gracia, don't peck Paca's butt. She's new.
It's just that she's different. The blondes.
Come on, kid. I'll give you wheat.
I guess they spend the whole day roaming free around here, right?
We're going to let them out right away. I'm coming.
I'm doing well, thanks. I'm fine. Let me.
They're a bit surprised, probably because of me.
There are 4 Castilian hens named Luisa, so it makes no difference since they're all the same. Paca is also called Kika, and Gracia is a bit odd, but since she's black, she stands out less.
Come here, little one. Come. Don't be afraid of me.
Really? Crap on Erica for being annoying like she's a little kid?
I've had chickens and I have to say they're very affectionate, and I didn't think they were animals.
To look at.
So affectionate.
She's the only one you can touch. The others are little witches.
Well.
And now she doesn't like being touched as much. Well, that's just freedom. When they were little, they had distemper, and we had to catch and clean their noses. It was quite something. Poor things, and now, no, they don't let us, no, they don't like us, they come close, but don't touch me. You do weird things, that's how they are now. And what was I telling you, Vichy, now? When we came in here, the floor was manure, there were the feeders, everything, and we came in with a table, a camping stove, and a tent.
Oh my, not just anyone would have done that.
But there was a dilemma. We were living in a rented apartment, and our intention was to just rent and fix up the cabin. Until one day you stop to think and say we're working. Both of us, bringing in more than 2,000 euros at home, but between paying for the cabin, paying the rent, the bills, I don't know, there was barely any money left to come here. Time.
Neither money nor time in the...
And...
Another value that we don't take into account. We also had to keep coming here. And there came a point when you were exhausted. You just didn't have the strength to keep coming here and working at the other job. And we took the leap. We said, let's leave the apartment, let's stop paying rent, and let's go all in with the cabin. And we came here in a tent, right on top of the rocks where the cows sleep.
And that's when we stayed there with just one salary. Of course, by then it was like, okay, that's enough. Now one of us stays at home and the other takes a little longer.
Well, we held on for 6 months and I was also working from here.
Yes, oh, I've already erased it from my memory. I don't remember.
I also held on for 6 months going down to work, and you did too at the same time. And working, let's go here. But of course, it started to pay off not having to pay, well, 500 euros in rent.
Of course, you got rid of an expense on one side, and with that extra money...
Here you'll spend that money.
Much less, I imagine.
Much, much less.
Well, I also have to say that you have a YouTube channel, because when you started this adventure, I think our families were amazed, right? With what you were doing.
But of course, for us, it was a normal thing, and we sent them videos like, look, I don't know how many we ended up making. On Telegram, a Telegram channel, it was just family and friends. And she started messing around with editing, so she would make a video, edit it a bit, add something silly, and suddenly we had the whole family. Usually the people closest to you aren't as involved. It's not that they're less interested, but it's different. And they were all hooked. A friend would always ask, but whatever ended up happening with that? And then a friend told us, do you realize what you're doing already? Like in our house, right? You don't realize what you're doing. There are people who would like to, but don't dare. And you're an example because you show it, right? Well, both of us were pretty wary of technology and social media. It was like, if the apocalypse comes, let no one know where we are or what we're doing. I mean, we were getting paranoid just in case.
Well, recently there was a blackout. There was a really big power outage. And here I think you would say, well, we just carry on as usual. Life goes on as normal, right?
We don't have electricity connected, so we don't really think about it.
We think, has the signal gone out again? Did you think about that?
Because sometimes it goes out quite often.
Well, in the city it was total chaos. I'm telling you, it was real chaos. What do you think, girls? Will you show me inside the house? We can briefly discuss electricity, water, and the basic things everyone is going to wonder about. How do they do it? Everything is very nice, but how do they get water? How do they buy things? How do they get electricity just a bit? All those things. What do you think?
Yes, perfect.
All right then.
Well, the door is the original one from the cabin. We haven't changed it. It has a specific lock. About the light, are you going to bust too?
Does it look good? Yes, it does.
And in this small entrance, is this the workshop and the entrance? We don't have light in this part, but we do have it inside. You'll see it in a moment. And then we have the whole loft where we keep all our tools and materials. The roof still needs to be done, but the wood is spectacular. We're still deciding when to do the roof. If we're really going to remove the old stuff and put in new,
Or if we're going to tear it down and make use of it, we'll see. You're still considering the options, right?
A lot of things, but this is cool because you can see he's saying it totally on the fly. I mean, I think everyone on the channel is waiting to see what happens, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's happening in real time. In fact, what's going to be uploaded to the channel tomorrow. We finished it yesterday in a rush. Well, rushing, getting up early. You know, we're just going like,
I'm going to take the opportunity to leave our channel there so that anyone who wants to follow our adventures daily can do so. Now that they know you, they can follow and give you full support. Personally, I believe these are the projects that deserve support. People who dare to live.
and dare to do the same. I mean, to really live life. It's just one life. It's short. We're here today and gone tomorrow. Suddenly you're not here anymore, and everything you wanted to do, you didn't do.
and you can do it. You really can. Well, now, before we leave the workshop, I want to show you something because earlier you mentioned grandparents, right? Well, I have a beautiful heirloom here. My grandfather was a cabinet maker, and this doesn't exist anymore. He made this cabinet maker's bench, and this is where he used to work. In fact,
Grandpa, did you bring it here to work on building your cabin?
I brought it from Albacete, and it almost killed my uncles to get it up here, to load it into the van, because of course this isn't like the benches nowadays. You know what I mean? You can pick those up with one hand, but you can't lift this one.
Very impressive.
Yes, the drawers, he made everything himself. In fact, I still have some of his things here.
Because just seeing the work marks and knowing they belong to your grandfather and that you continue with this, I mean, not letting it die anywhere in any house, because I find this in abandoned houses, a crazy amount of grandparents' tools, and it catches my attention that people don't recover them and just leave them behind. And even if it's just out of affection to say, well, it belonged to my grandfather, it was my grandfather's trade, it was my grandfather's furniture, it was in my grandfather's or my uncle's photos, whatever it is, it really impresses me. So I truly congratulate you for bringing this here and giving it a second chance. Yes, besides, this helps us build our whole dream. Yes.
Yes, no, we enjoy it. We really do. This also belonged to him. Well, that's what I wanted to share. There's a little piece of history here.
Well, I'm going back a bit to the topic of the cabin. Let's see what it's really like. We still haven't done the main work, which is going to be taking down the roof and putting up all the wood. New or restored? Well, we're not really doing construction inside, strictly speaking. Like partition work or things that are very, very heavy. And we have a specialty, which is making partitions with blankets or carpets.
Well, hey, if it's temporary, it's a good idea, right?
Yeah, it's a good way, in case there's someone crazy like us who wants to take the risk. So they know that this way is a way to isolate the part you're living in. Since this is more of a work area, we keep it more separated, and then the inside part, which you'll see now, is the part we keep a bit warmer.
All right then. Hey, look, I really like this part. And the explanation, especially about the blankets, because a lot of people might wonder about it, not knowing why, but now, of course, it all makes sense. You can start the interior before planning the roof, but you want it to be here already, so it's also about adapting to the situation, right?
And you have to be flexible. If you want to do something and do it perfectly, it's very likely you won't be able to because you don't have the means and the abilities, or maybe you do, but if you don't, do it anyway. Manage and be flexible, adapt, adjust yourself. It's okay if you have to change your mind and do it another way.
That's great. I really love it. I love the genuine philosophy you have and how natural you are about it, because not everyone is willing to open the doors of their home under these conditions. I know some really great projects by people like you, which could be really inspiring, and they don't want to show them because they're a little embarrassed about showing them. Well, I think we all go through a process of, construction, and when it's under construction, that's just how it is. It's not fully adapted yet, right? I feel proud.
Honestly,
And me, and I thank you all from the bottom of my heart because you still want to show it to me. I say this to you sincerely because I think it's going to be very important for many people. Yes?
We really try to make it clear so that it's clear we didn't come here with 40,000 euros in our pockets to fix up the cabin. We didn't have it, maybe someday we will. One thing doesn't take away from the other. Do it anyway and adapt, adjust and manage and let people see. When we started our YouTube channel, it was initially just let's upload. But then we started to realize that there are a lot of people who get inspired, who say, wow, I want to do that too.
Everyone wants to get out of their comfort zone, but they don't dare. Yeah, everyone. That's why I'm telling you that you are an example, and that with this you are really giving someone the opportunity to move forward, to say, I'm going to take the first step, and then the doors will start to open, right? I can't keep wondering which doors will open for me. If you do, you'll never move, so they won't open.
It's really impressive.
Another one of those things, and you'll say it at my job.
The thing about the vine we were talking about, it's holding on the vine, right?
Oh, there's work.
Stability, well, me, you, and everyone. And in the end, you let go because there's another one there. And there will be a moment when you'll be in the air.
Of course.
And that's what terrifies all of us, that moment when we're in the air. Right now we're in the air, in a way, but believing in the universe and trusting that we can build our dream anyway.
That moment in the air can feel scary. Am I really up here? Or you might think, wow, this is amazing. It can be really cool, like when I'm about to grab that vine.
The guts it takes to face life.
Now we're going to open the not really a door to our house.
All right, let's go inside. Well, 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 this is just a start. I love seeing the little wood stove here.
The queen.
Did you install it here to, I imagine, heat up this room?
It's light otherwise.
I think it looks good and the lighting is great.
This was essential. We didn't have the floor.
Look at his little one. No, it's not perfect. It actually looked better with less light.
Every winter the arrangement changes. We've had 3 winters here, and each winter the arrangement has been completely different because everything revolves around this one, which was essential. Also, it's built in. These old ones are built in, and you have to make them very well because otherwise they won't draw properly. So we talked to a guy from here who honestly treats us really well, and we told him, please, please, we're going to come. And we don't even have a single heat source. We used to light a fire there.
We were here, we still didn't have the
Fire, we used to light a fire there on the ground.
Like the old shepherds, right? Yes, cooking on the ground, you see, on the ground.
And the wine, the stew, it was all we had, everything.
You have this on your channel, right? Is it recorded on your channel? Well, let them go to your first videos and watch it. So you came here with a tent and you've been cooking on the ground? I mean, did you really start completely from scratch?
Yes, well, it was the only way. Sometimes well, actually, not just sometimes. When you don't let go, it's like with the vine. If you don't let go, you're going to get hurt trying to grab the next one because you'll still be holding on, and the momentum will keep you from reaching it. And you go back, you go back.
And fear makes you stay in your comfort zone, not go out, and then you won't build what you've dreamed of for so long.
But you shouldn't be afraid. Look, 2 years ago, I learned a lesson. Right when we started the channel, my mother gave me a life lesson. Overnight, without expecting it, she passed away. And you say, damn, working until the very last moment. And you look back and you say, if my mother could go back now, she wouldn't change a thing. I mean, if I die tomorrow, I want to have enjoyed myself until the very last day, waking up here in the morning. And that's something inevitable. We are who we are today. Tomorrow we might change or maybe stay the same. Since you don't know, there's no reason to be so afraid.
I only learned it by working in the ambulance service and through my own life journey until I got to what I'm doing today. One day I'll share everything in more detail when I'm ready, because I'm going through changes and it's hard to talk about it. The time will come. I learned that. A lot of people, when I was working in the ambulance service and took them to the hospital, would tell me they wished they had done this or they wished they had done that. They regretted many things, you know? Above all, for being how society or their parents expected, or for not achieving their dreams. And that was a bit of what motivated me to dedicate myself completely to what I'm doing right now. Honestly, to leave my regular job and everything to devote myself exclusively to this now. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm a bit like you guys. I'm up in the air, but I hope that by trusting in life, you know, because it also fulfills me. For me, thinking about going to work now like I used to in something I didn't really like that much, honestly, it just wasn't true for me. I think now I should do everything I enjoy so that on the day I'm dying, I can say, I've done everything I wanted to do. So that on the day I'm dying, I can say, I managed to do everything I wanted and I don't regret anything, whether it turned out well or badly.
The world will be a better place when all of us are truly doing what comes from our hearts.
If they taught us that, I believe the world would be different.
There's a saying,
I truly believe we're heading there because society is transforming right now at a rapid, abrupt pace. Our generation in the 80s and 90s is a very disruptive generation that has broken many patterns. And the kids coming up now, wow, they're spectacular. I mean,
I also feel it and see it. I see it too.
there's a generation of awakened kids coming full of love and an unconditional spirit. There will be all kinds, but I think in general we're going to, yes.
The one who understands what we're talking about doesn't need explanations. The one who doesn't understand won't want to understand either and will judge it. It's not really necessary. I understand you and think you're absolutely right. In fact, I'm actually experiencing it myself to some extent. So thanks to being here, well, I've confirmed a lot more things for myself, you know? Yes, things that I feel and think.
And what else? Speaking of all this, of fear and all that, I'd like to explain what I want to show. In fact, it's one of the reasons for our channel. I want to show people that it's okay that you can live without electricity in quotes. We're not connected, we could connect. No, these are the kind of cabins. There are cabins that don't have this option, but ours does.
Yes, the road passes very close by. So you're not, well, you're a bit isolated, but it's not crazy. You're not deep in the woods, you know? Without a road, without power lines.
We're not closed off. I mean, I'm not saying I'll never connect. No, maybe in 10 years or 5 or so, something might require it, or we might decide we want to do a 50-50 of self-sufficiency and connect, but it's possible.
And now, how are you doing it?
Solar?
Solar? We have that little device. With this here? Yes. Well, it's like the EcoFlow that I have, which a lot of you have been asking me about after the blackout. So this is it. It's a battery. It's from the EcoFlow brand, the one I use. It's an energy station where you can connect 220 volts. You can connect anything, right? USB, the car lighter, it has absolutely everything. And this, how much capacity does it give you? Because I imagine that a cable goes outside, the solar panel charges the battery, and how much light does this give you in here, for example?
This gives a maximum of 500 watts. That's the maximum power it gives you. Let's say that for charging phones, computers, giving you lighting, right now it's at a minimum because I charge my computer and my computer is like a power station. It's an aircraft carrier. It's an aircraft carrier, but when it comes to lighting, basically that's what uses the least power.
Yeah, just two small LED bulbs and look how they light this up. Impressive.
What you really need the most is turn it down.
Because maybe if it doesn't have much,
And in some way, this gives you basic self-sufficiency. If you want more, like a fridge or to power up a grinder, you need to go for something bigger. But this is really a very acceptable minimum to be self-sufficient. For the basic needs we all have, like charging your phone or...
now that you mentioned the fridge, for example, I was used to living in an apartment, and when we moved here, I kept thinking, but if we're not going to have a fridge, where am I going to put the food? How am I going to freeze my food containers?
I'm going to ask now because I know a lot of people are interested in this topic.
Well,
It turns out that's what no.
is essential.
The thing you need the least.
When I wanted to have a cold beer, I looked for a stream or a spring, put them in there, room temperature, natural.
And then, for example,
You buy for the day, sorry.
that's it. Meat, fish, start comes during the day.
You learn. You went down to buy?
You went down, for example, we go down 2 or 3 times a week. She used to go down much more before. So when you buy during the day, you eat. You bought chicken, you eat the chicken that day, and you learn to live that way. And that way you are freer, because otherwise you are dependent on the fridge, dependent on having that connection.
How far is the nearest supermarket from here? Because we have to understand, a lot of people watching us from Latin America think that these areas are usually very remote, like they are over there, where there's a huge stretch of land. That's not the case here. No matter where you are in the north, it takes at most half an hour to reach a store.
Right? Yes, an hour.
How long does it take you here? Maybe half an hour at most? Really, that's the longest. Yes, because I haven't seen an area in Asturias. Many people ask, how can you go there? Honestly, I mean, moving around for half an hour is nothing. In Latin American countries, people even travel 2 or 3 hours from where they are. That's it. A nearby store might not have everything, but it always has the basics.
Yes.
And somehow you have to put it into perspective. I mean, for example, she used to work in Bilbao and we lived in Castodiales, but that was years ago. She used to come from Bilbao to Castro and it took her 45 minutes. And in the summer, you had to add the time it took to find parking.
But listen, there are people in Madrid who spend an hour just to get to work, right? Just to get to work, and that's not even counting anything else.
So, for example, yes, when we came here, I would go from here to Santander to work. My coworkers, some of them even came up to this area, would ask, are you crazy? How do you get here from there? How do you even do that? Are you crazy?
But if I leave?
If it takes me less time than when I lived in Castro and commuted to Bilbao, you're just more used to that.
It's about perception. People haven't tried the other way, so they can't appreciate it. Now, I avoid judging because I don't truly understand until I've experienced it myself. Maybe a few years ago, if someone had told me these stories without me actually living it like I am now, going to places and experiencing the situation firsthand, I would have judged it. And I might say, damn, but living there is just, but those are literally fears. And it's those same fears that are limiting you because you impose them on yourself in your everyday life too. For your own things.
Then when you're here, for example, when it comes to the fridge, well, let's talk about the shower. I've showered with how much snow would be in the camper.
Maybe 20 centimeters of snow.
We don't have hot water. Hot water comes from that pot that gets heated here or in the camper. Just like in the old days. Pot, jug, and mixing water. Now I burn myself, now it's cold, and you're listening to this and thinking, oh my God, I just turn on a tap and take a shower. How complicated? No.
I know a lot of people are thinking this and they're saying it's comfort for you. They're thinking, right? It's not like that. It's part of the process of building what you want. It's not that you want to live showering with this pot, but you have to pay a price for how committed you are to your project. I understand that perfectly.
And that price really isn't that high. It just seems that way to you. Oh, what craziness. But then when you compare it, now I think about it and I say, well, it's really not that big of a deal. Because in the future, I'll look back and say it was worth it. It's just that I don't have the convenience of turning on a faucet. I heat the water. But thanks to that, having gone through that process, now I'm in a place that 3 years ago I wouldn't have even dreamed of.
And the key is to get all those comforts for yourself, not to have them given to you. The problem is that when they're given to you, you become dependent. You depend on someone giving them to you. And when they're missing, of course, a blackout that people say lasted 1,212 hours.
When you do this and suddenly
You can't turn it on. And the light is almost the least of your worries.
And it's that we're very used to it because in Latin America, they told me, Alvaro, we're already used to it. But in Spain, that had never happened before. So people weren't prepared. I imagine the first time they had a blackout there, they must have been like, damn, what's going on, right? Because I depend on everything. My whole life, everything I've built is based on electricity and having it provided to me. Not about me being able to generate it myself. Exactly.
It doesn't matter if they give it to you, but you have to know how to do it yourself if they can't give it to you. Because if not, you're selling your soul. In some way, you're going to sacrifice your freedom so they can give it to you.
And then I also think because you've lived in circumstances that are sometimes a bit different, but I've always been very comfortable. And when you come here suddenly, that's when you really appreciate it. That's when you truly realize the value of things. Otherwise, at first you just take it for granted that yes, just by being here, you expect to press a button and have light. You expect things to just work. Suddenly you come here and start appreciating things like hot water, comfort, and warmth much more.
Having a flat floor.
Well.
We came here, it was quite an odyssey. The floor was completely uneven, stone.
You'd grab the chair and you'd fall.
You'd start. It's spectacular, and the cabins had stone slab floors with stones that, I don't know if you managed to capture them with the camera earlier.
We're gonna show them to you. They weigh 200 now.
They're there. The stonemasons from here were real champions.
Well, this is the suite. It's the room where you might say, what a dump, it's so small. We went from a Quechua tent to a slightly bigger tent because the Quechua one was awful.
Quechua is a tent brand you can get here in Spain.
Yes, the one I used to take to music festivals, you mean. Tiny.
Tiny, we got a bigger one and leveled up, and then we leveled up again with this one.
This was the third step, and I added my own touch since the plastic here gave me a bad vibe. Look at the spiders, how nice. Come on, ladies.
Part of the field.
I put the little scarf on it because in the end, I don't know, it gives it a special touch and it's our room. I made a little table with 4 boards so we could have some books there.
And the most precious thing is to feel the walls of the cabin, which are the real ones, the ones they built more than 200 years ago, because the cabin, do you know roughly how old it is?
About 150 years ago. What happened is that there was a cabin that collapsed and they rebuilt it about 100 years ago, approximately.
150 years of history.
And this was well full of holes, air would come in, bugs, spiders. It had manure. Here we removed the manure from the stones with a spatula. And then later the cows.
The cows rub their behinds on the walls.
And they leave all the mess behind.
And this was the first wall we made that we rebuilt. I mean, the mortar between the stones, that's it. Then this was Let's see.
so that it looks as nice as you see here. It turned out really well for you, and even without experience, I have to say this corner looks beautiful.
I'm serious. It's like cooking. When you eat your grandma's beans, you know they're made with love. It's the same here. There's so much love that even without knowing it worked out for us. That's how it seems to me. My room looks beautiful to me. And now I'm going to, let's go, that's enough. Now,
Let's show each other more things.
we'll show you the base of operations because there's something important. We wouldn't have been able to come without the support we have. And our support was the trailer?
Okay. It's just that you mentioned the trailer before, and I wasn't really clear on what that was. I had seen something from above, but you can't really see much. So do you have a motorhome or a trailer?
It's a trailer.
A trailer. And is that your base of operations?
That's right. The first thing we did when we bought the cabin was clear some land and lay a slab so we could put the trailer there. The plan was to sleep and live there, but the weather and circumstances said no. Okay, so this is the operations center. Well, our intention at first was even to sleep here at the very beginning, but that idea was discarded because in the summer you roast like a potato and in the winter you freeze because it's so cold.
I'm speaking from experience, yes.
And it's a bit of everything. It's the kitchen, it's the jumpers from the Louisas. It's like this because the hens love it. They eat it like little worms. It insulates us. They're eating it underneath the caravan.
Oh my goodness.
All right, get in.
Let's see now.
It's everything. Pantry closet at first. At first we didn't have clothes there. We kept it here because it was the only way to keep it clean. And it was our main base of operations. Here we did everything from cooking to planning what we were going to do.
It's very nice, yes. It's like another room, a garden room with a different atmosphere. You have seed trays here for your vegetable garden.
Yes, let's go now.
I'm going to show everything you have around here. These are zucchini, pumpkin,
Organic butternut squash. This is zucchini. There are more, but only that one has come out. Here we have Swiss chard. Here are some shy lettuces.
I don't want to come out.
They don't want to come out.
Have you planted anything in the garden yet, or is it still empty? Yes.
You have planted. We'll show you.
Come on.
Yes, come to the garden. You won't come in, sweetie? Which?
The little hen, she's having a feast. Yes, she is.
The little hen. Something's going on here.
But you need to view the garden in perspective.
Well, we did this ourselves, of course.
Man, I imagine there was absolutely nothing here, right? No.
In fact, it's nothing. It was completely sloped. And this, well, we made a terrace. And this terrace gives us a lot of functionality. One of them is this little garden on the terrace, which will be expanded, but for now it serves us well if those witches over there don't manage to get in.
They stopped eating it. These were pallets. The first year they were pallets, yes. And then suddenly she went a little crazy because you give her a stone and she's happy. And look at what she did.
Well, it turned out really beautiful, I have to say, honestly. Yes, really, really beautiful.
And then inside here, I want to explain something, of course. This is... Come here, little milk, it's going to be good. These are the lettuces from the house. Special recipe for hens, I want to tell you. There were lettuces here, okay? No more lettuces, just leftovers now. But oh well.
That's because all the hens got in and they've had a feast.
Right? This happened because the door was left open and they thought, how cool, and they ate them all up. And not only that, they even pulled out some little plants I planted there. And one day I came and it was with the root ball, what's it called? Root ball, right? Well, with the soil and everything, root ball, everything scattered all over the place. But in the end, what can you do?
Well, not really.
On top of that, they hide the eggs. I mean, we have some world destroyers here that eat up the garden and hide the eggs into the stew pot.
They want to get into the wheelbarrow underneath where they've hidden them, but can't because we're here.
Well, I have straw here, right? From when we cleared it for the garden the other day. And now, what do I find when I come for the straw?
My goodness, is the hen laying eggs for you? But they're white, look. I had hens and they were colored, well, like skin, right? Those were more of an orange color. And what about the Castilian hen? What kind of eggs does it lay? White like this?
They lay white eggs. And this one, for example, is from the Cuica. See how the size is different and it's a bit more like cream? Well, this one is from Paca, from the Kika. Let's leave them there because if not, they'll find another hiding place and you won't find them. In the end, we have hens so we don't have to go to the supermarket. Damn it.
I see that you have this closed off here too. What is this?
I call this the Garden of Delights, for them, of course. They're trees. Is this a holly tree? There's a holly tree. There are chestnut trees. This is a chestnut tree. That's a holm oak, but it needs to be protected. Yes.
And is this with the intention of planting little trees around here? Yes.
That's great. But if you have it around here so casually, actually this one, if you notice, has gravel to prevent them from coming.
And lift it up?
Everything. Lift it up because they destroy it all.
They're like rebellious girls.
They're little pests. Okay, before I show you Bueno, this is Erica's playroom.
This right here?
Yes.
So this is your game room? Yes.
Let's see, we have a lot of stone here, and what we do is use it to build walls.
Let's call it your creativity room. It is? It is. I mean, all these stones you took out from the cabin, I imagine, left over from the renovation. Yes. And you left them here because you want to use them for other things, right?
Yes, actually, these are for the floor.
Yeah, good grief. How did you move this? Damn.
With brute force and by rolling stones around.
Well, we also have a friend who's pretty strong, and sometimes he's had to do the hard work.
He helped you, right? And it's good to have friends. You see, even if you're here, you're not alone. There are people and friends who help, right?
And neighbors. The neighbors have helped us a lot.
Yes. At first you think, well, 2 girls, let's see how people react, but they're delighted. Whenever they walk by and we're working, all they can say is, look at them.
Of course, the people passing by who must have noticed this road here are usually locals, right? Ranchers, local people who come by here very often to see the cows and all that, right? And they notice, they're gossiping to see how committed they are.
What are the girls doing? What are the girls doing?
Surely some of them thought you'd give up, saying, these girls won't last 2 days, right? Yes.
And you've already been here, they've told us, for 3 years.
How many?
3 years?
3 lived here, 4 since we bought it.
Impressive. We almost started the project at the same time. When I started on YouTube 3 years ago, look at that. We nearly started chasing our dreams at the same time. I'm really glad.
Because this was the start of a dream. The day we signed it began. All right.
Coming back.
Yes, firewood area. Of course, this is the play area, firewood area, because you've already seen what kind of stove we have. That will need firewood.
Firewood area and barbecue area, I saw this good. Here is where you prepare the barbecue, yes?
This poor thing, some winds came and blew it all the way down to the bottom of the field and it's completely ruined, so I have to fix it.
But what a place to have a barbecue, wow.
It's amazing. Well, we often bring the firewood up from down there, since we keep pruning little trees. Actually, we now have plenty of firewood there and carry it up by hand. And here we cut it. It's our other work area. We made this horse ourselves.
That's great.
Then they sneaked in. You have
Honey channels too. I mean,
planned. They're drawers.
they're drawers. They're drawers just like the honeycombs of...
Those are some drawers that you put on the mare or the ox. Wow.
All right.
What they used to do here in the old days, in fact it still has traces of manure, is put manure on it and fertilize the meadows. Since this area is very mountainous,
It's very steep, yes.
they fertilize the land with the help of an animal because you can't use a small cart here.
That's good. Well, it was just the same, just like the beehives they use there for...
They use manure to fertilize the meadow by moving the animal around.
They open this part here. That's how it is.
That's how you open it.
And this, look how interesting.
Yes, they left these for us. And we haven't used them, but they're so pretty we just don't know.
I have a question, ladies, because I'm sure they're going to ask me, and that is, now that you've left your jobs, now that you've decided to stay here for good, what are your plans? What do you have in mind to move forward? That concern that everyone has about finances, right? What solution do you have in mind? What's your plan?
Trust.
Trust. We're between vine and vine. Right now we're floating in the air, but it's not a crazy kind of air like, oh my God, I'm going to die. It's like, I know exactly what I want. I know I want to be here, and I know I'm going to be here. And it's going to come. Jobs keep coming up.
Yeah, they're coming. Little jobs and gigs keep popping up.
But around here, right? Around here, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people think that just because you're isolated here or in a small town or whatever, there's no work, but there is work. There are different kinds of jobs, but they're jobs, and you spend less.
By being here, you're also creating work for someone else, of course. In the end, the fact that we all leave is what makes these places become poorer. For example, we've needed people to come and install the stove for us or to come and do some other work. So, trust, be present, create jobs, and work too. Put yourself out there without fear of doing things or making mistakes. We'll make mistakes like when I get confused putting line in the brush cutter or in many other ways, but you just keep going and trust yourself. And then we also have our YouTube project, which in some way, well, we like what we're doing and we try to inspire with what we do.
You are doing it, I'm telling you.
And we try to create quality content, not empty content, because social media is, well,
Really full of empty content. There's no doubt about that.
you can't describe in so few words what's happening, obviously not 100%.
But it ends up being a reflection of society. Yes, social media, what we consume is a true reflection of society. Look, there she is over there. Look at her, look at her, look at her.
Committing the crime. She got in.
Look.
She's going there she goes to lay the egg.
To lay the egg? Well, girls, I hope that a lot of the people who follow me will be encouraged to follow you, to see your adventures from the beginning, because you have everything recorded on video from when you started. Yes. It's exciting. I follow you and have seen several of your videos. The algorithm is smart and suggests content I like, so your video from when you came here was recommended to me a long time ago. And I know people are going to like it, so I'll leave it there again, so that everyone who wants to subscribe can do so, because also, people like you who dare to step out of your comfort zone, I think you deserve it. You deserve an opportunity like this to inspire people and to share your experience.
And it's very simple. It's about breaking the barrier. That is, I don't need to have a fixed paycheck every month. I need to trust. Because we've been taught that there's a specific way to make a living, that if you don't have a steady job, you're going to starve. But actually, that's not true, right?
A garden keeps you from starving.
No, it's also about opening your mind. Here you must trust and recognize there are many ways to find abundance.
Doors open up. The moment you start doing what we talked about before, you take a step, and then doors start opening that you didn't even know existed.
That's right.
Well, I'm glad, and I really hope things go very well for you.
I don't want you to leave yet. I want to show you something. I want to show you where this young man comes from. This one here? Yes.
Let's see. Where does this young man who has such a good time around here come from? From a very beautiful town.
Well, Cantabria, there's something that made me fall in love with Cantabria, and it's that it's very rural, because you can go to the Basque country, which is also beautiful, but it's much more industrialized. Cantabria is beautiful because it keeps that old rural charm that you can't find anymore, but that comes at a price. And the price is that it's becoming depopulated. There are a lot of depopulated areas. In fact, I want to show you now a small village that used to be full of life, with lots of families and a school, and today there are only 10 people left. We are in an area at risk of depopulation, and it makes me really sad because you go down there and there are so many traditions that are being lost there, houses like this one built with their own hands that are falling apart. And I think it's at least worth remembering a little.
You don't need to tell me more. You already know I love all this stuff, and what I didn't expect. Cantabria always seems a bit more well-kept to me, but it's true that being well-kept doesn't mean it's not depopulated. That's another thing. This is happening in the villages. Even if you see them looking nice, very few people live there. I imagine this is the closest little village you have, right? Yes. All right, well, if you want, come on, let's go down.
And let's see if we're lucky too, because if there's a local around, maybe they'll tell you a bit.
That would really complete the video. If not...
Here's what I know. Come on.
Very well.
Let's go.
Well, family, here we are in the town, in one of the nearest villages to where they live, and honestly, I'm impressed with the entrance, because we're at the entrance of the town.
Yes. And this used to be a very populated place. There were 18 families living here with their children and agricultural and livestock activities, and now there are only 10 people left.
Only 10 people?
10 people, and all of them are elderly. It's true that people might come to visit them, but only on weekends and not much more. Yes.
But that's life in the village.
It's dying. And it was a very rich area. It's a very rich area in pastures, and they had very rewarding agriculture.
The location here is incredible. At your cabin in the mountains, it was very windy, but now that we've come down, it's much better.
About 100 meters, 80 meters or so.
Of course, your cabin is located up there, right at the top over there. Another thing that impressed me is this amazing house for sale over there. It has a wonderful porch and no buildings in front, so you could put a garden there like you mentioned.
It's spectacular.
It's very sunny, a village with great sun exposure and a prime location.
Yes, we chose well. Yes. Buying, something very important. And well, what stands out in this area is all the stonework. There are a lot of houses built there. Since there is so much stone in this area and limestone, people specialized in shaping those stones and building structures like this one, which is the Hermitage of St. Peter, a hermitage that almost doesn't have Mass on Sundays anymore, and its festival is being lost. They used to celebrate it every year, and this last year it wasn't celebrated anymore. But it's really spectacular because if you look closely, Alvaro, you'll be able to see how they shaped it with a care that we're losing today. Nowadays, this is being forgotten. Today, we just use the grinder.
The amount done by hand is very little, very little, very little, just a little. I only know one in person, my friend Danny's father, because stonework is common where he's from too, and he's wanted to keep the craft alive here. Do they use the same kind of stone there? Of course.
But it depends. Some stones are easier or harder.
The one over there, I know it's very hard. Yeah, I know it's hard to work with. You need stronger arms for it.
And this particular stone is quite hard to work with. These days, we simply use a grinder to cut the stone to shape, and that's it. But still, if you look closely, for example, on this stone, they've made the corner, which isn't a 90-degree angle, but they've made it perfectly. It lines up with the next one. And this was done by people who we consider illiterate nowadays. And they were true artists.
Well, yes, look, I really love this detail here. Look at this perfection, these perfectly straight lines. I mean, it's just amazing. If you understand even a little, it's amazing what practicing a craft for a long time means. I'm sure they learned it from their grandparents. That's it. And to be able to build a place like this, I wonder how many years this hermitage has been here.
Well, honestly, I don't know.
Of course, it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. That's just, come on.
And on June 29th every year, the festival was celebrated. But it's starting to fade away a bit because people are leaving. It's being abandoned. What a shame. And now I want us to go, Alvaro, to see if we can talk to a little old man from this town, and he can tell us a bit more about the history.
All right, well, let's try it.
Let's try it.
If not, you can show me the rest of the village. I see many abandoned houses behind the vegetation, and I'm curious. Let's go over there and check out the village. Family, we're about to meet Mingo, a man from this village who was initially shy to come out. You'll be surprised by how life can work in mysterious ways. Dika, what happened?
We've met a descendant of the Kajiga family from this village, and he's going to tell us a bit about the history, and they're coming in a bit of a romantic way.
Not in a nostalgic way, but about the history you've lived here, because that's how it was, so you remember it a lot. And since this is still here, well, there's no doubt, really,
You all
we're
many siblings.
a dozen, nothing more.
Nothing more? A dozen?
A dozen.
Quite a few?
A dozen, but actually it was 15.
A dozen and it was 15.
He is a twin.
But come closer, because if you're going to talk to us, I need you to be in the audio, otherwise you won't be heard. So you had twin siblings? I mean, you are a twin?
I'm a twin, yes, of course. My younger sisters are twins. And then another sister who has also passed away was also a twin. Her twin was a boy.
So in other words, it ran in the family?
3 sets of twins, a total of 15.
Because later another one was born, but that one has already passed away.
I never got to know them. That was 15 years ago. But actually, we've lived until not too long ago. Well, 2 siblings, yes, have passed away.
6. What's your name? Pedro. Pedro, I want to ask you a question because a lot of people are curious when I visit abandoned villages. We find many houses like this. I understand there are many issues behind it. They range from, well, from the governments themselves that don't encourage life in the villages to when there are many heirs and it ends up causing problems, right? With paperwork.
No, here there were no problems at all. What happened is that it was just left behind. People gradually passed away, but there were no problems when it came to sitting down to decide what to do with the house.
Right? Because now where do you live?
In Santander.
You live in Santander, you live a bit far from the village, so coming here, it's not very far, but you still have to make the trip to get here, right?
There is family in Mexico because 2 siblings have passed away there, a sister and a brother, and they have their families there too, because I'm telling you, they left here about 60 years ago.
There was also emigration here.
Well, from here, two siblings, specifically a sister and a brother. Well, my brother was 27 years old, I think, when he left, and he passed away at 80. And is anyone there now? Life in the villages was very hard here. You have to keep in mind that everyone here made a living from the land, from raising cattle, because frankly, there was no other way. Cows and sheep in the morning, you took them up to the hill, and at night you went to get them. So even as kids, when we were little, with the fog and everything, you had to listen for where the cowbell was ringing, which helped you figure out where they might be, because of course you had to find them. That was everyone. I mean, everyone in the neighborhood, since we all made a living the same way, from livestock and sheep, and then whatever was planted, because a lot was planted here.
What did you plant in this area?
With a digging stick. Well, beans, potatoes, corn, leeks, garlic wasn't really planted here. Chickens, for example, well, there were always some eggs.
I don't know if there would be.
There were also, we did have rabbits, chickens. The chicken coop specifically was just that, closed off with wire mesh. And here they would come out, and at night they would go back in by themselves through that small window to the barn. I mean, that was everyday life, and then a couple of pigs were slaughtered each year. For example, a strong stick was hung there, and that's where they would singe the pig, because they would singe it to remove the hair using bigger bundles of brushwood, which you know what those are, right? And living here.
I have to ask you an obligatory question because people are going to ask, and if not, they'll leave it in the comments. And that is, why don't you carry out a restoration? What's the reason?
Well, the reason is that it was just left like that over time. And the family also left it that way, and that's how it is. That's how it is.
You should all agree, because when something belongs to many people, it gets complicated.
Right? That's one thing. You'd have to start digging through paperwork. Just imagine paperwork from siblings who have already passed away. So, counting on that, I don't think there would be any problem with anyone, but nothing has been settled. No one
has settled down to
talk
about these things. Well, it's a general problem. It's not just one problem. For example, in Asturias, it often happens that they practically make life impossible when it comes to inheritance matters. I mean, the issue of inheritance in Asturias is a mess.
But here, more than anything, it's not really a family problem. It's just that nothing has been done about it. It's been left alone, and time goes by.
This house was very important, right? It was a big house for a village like this.
It's a house that back in its day, before it had electricity, my father made one with carbide. With carbide.
With carbide?
So there was wiring throughout the whole house under lead, but every room had its own switch to turn on the light. Even the stable had carbide lighting.
Well, back then it was lost.
The storage rooms were on the balcony.
Can we move here so you can see from this side? Will you come? No?
Come on, you won't see anything because no?
Mainly because I also wanted to get the house next door in the shot.
The tree.
There's a house next door. No.
The tree is the forest.
Yes, no, but this area here really caught my attention. That's why I wanted to come closer, because look here, for example, you had a house that belonged to neighbors, right? This little house right here.
Yes, the one in front belonged to other neighbors.
I imagine, obviously, you knew them back in the day.
Right? Yes, of course, the whole family. Let's see.
This house is beautiful, also with the corridor here.
Well, yes, these were things that...
It's magical, and yours, I have to tell you, it impresses me.
It comes up to here, it comes up to here.
The size is impressive.
A house that had 5 rooms, and then upstairs it had the kitchen, a wood-burning stove, one of those old-fashioned ones. Yes. And besides the kitchen, next to it, there was another room called the lar, but the lar...
Yes, it was older.
We never installed that one. We had the other one. And outside there was like a little room. I mean, a big table, since there were so many of us in the family, a bench on each side, and that's where life happened. And down here, well, that's where the carbide tanks were. There were 2 of them. It's just that my father, let's say he's not a native from here. Where was he from? My father was from Hermosa, but he grew up here. He was here with an uncle, Guramera, in a house called El Palacio, and he stayed here, yes.
Where was he from?
My father was from Hermosa, but he grew up here. He was here with an uncle in a house called El Palacio, and he stayed here for a long time. So as a young man, he met my mother, and then that led to my mother, and then that led to my mother, and then that led to. Well, he left because he was fairly well educated. Well, so to speak, he was quite cultured. He went to Bilbao and worked at Lavalco. In Bilbao, at Altos Hornos de Vizcaya, he was also in Valladolid in another factory. He was a man.
Yes, that's also when industrial development began.
He was a man who came here, and I don't know how he got here because today there's a road here. But this seemed, well, to use a common phrase, the middle of nowhere, because without a road, getting down to Santander was a problem. Even getting down to Leganés was already a problem because just going down to Leganés, maybe you would go with the cart and the horse that had a cover from the baker who came up from Leganés
You really have to put yourself in that situation.
with a horse.
I see you have the key and you still keep the old huge one. How do you feel? I imagine coming here brings up many emotions for you.
No, there are a lot of memories, but there's a bit of longing and sadness seeing it like this because you really knew it. This was always, well, impeccable as you see it, painted green, for example. The house inside was like that. The house inside, for being a house in a neighborhood like this, well, it was very, very well kept, to put it one way.
But have you ever thought about maybe encouraging yourself or giving someone the chance to buy it and give it a second life?
Do you know how old I am?
How old are you? You seem young to me.
But to cheer myself up,
How old are you?
at the festival, I think I'm going to be 70 and 79 years old.
Well, you're young.
I'm too old to be getting mixed up in all that.
And sell it to someone who wants to give it another chance? I'm not sure.
Come on, that would be clear.
We would have to fix all the paperwork.
But again, the same thing, getting yourself into situations that go around in circles, of course.
Yes, I know it's complicated, that it's not that easy.
Lawyer stuff and all that. And once I mentioned to someone, because for other reasons we were talking to him to sort some things out, and once I mentioned to someone that for other reasons we were talking to him to fix some things, and I said, oh my God, that's it.
That's what you have to do, right?
That's a mess. That it's complicated, very complicated.
How many people lived in the village? Can you give an exact number? Yes. Here.
There were 17 or 18 neighbors because all of this used to be houses. Here at the school, we went to school because it was mixed, boys and girls, but there were 25 or 30. We could be talking for hours about this. Yes.
I know, hours. Yes.
The stories, all these lands you see around here, all of this was worked with a digging stick. You know what a digging stick is, right? Yes. Well, with a digging stick by hand. We even had a harrow pulled by a mare.
With some iron tools to break up the clods and all that? Yes.
But there wasn't even that here. No one. Huh? There weren't even any horses? Almost, well. Later on, yes, there started to be some, but when I was young, it was all donkeys and other pack animals. Because from here they used to go to the market, to San Roque on foot. San Roque is a bit of a distance from here. It's a few kilometers. I had an aunt who lived with us. She became a widow at 22 years old, and every Sunday she would go to the San Roque market. She would take cheese and bring back other things from the San Roque market, which they held there in the plaza. And well, it was impressive.
The stories we would have to tell here.
Story after story.
But anyway, I really appreciate it.
It's not over yet.
It's nice to hear it from an air, from local people, from the village. Well,
Yes. You remember the story, you see it, you lived it, and as you lived it, you see it today, and you say, my goodness, how did this end up like this? And that's how you see the emptied Spain around here. Well, this is just here. Look, all of this used to be very accessible, very clean. This was, look, a specific stone. Well, this is here. Look, all of this used to be very accessible, very clean. This was, look, a specific stone where two old ladies who lived here used to sit. Their names were Zelda and Clarissa, and this was the gathering spot because they always had kids around, especially us, since we were here like family.
do you still remember seeing them sitting here?
Here? See, and she had a brother who was still alive, and we remember him a lot. He used to come and sleep with them because they were two older ladies as well. And so they wouldn't be alone at night. He always came to stay with her. And there he did have the yard, and he made a delicious bread that was this thick, and well, we remember him a lot. We remember him a lot. A lot, we took care of them a lot, whatever they needed, well, that's what it was. We were here, well, like part of the family.
Well, family, you see how life is full of coincidences. I think you're a bit amazed too, right?
A little surprised.
Because at first we came to talk to Mingo, who is the one who lives here, the man who lives here, but since he didn't want to come out,
Well, we found a descendant who left.
and he told us. And you see everything he told us. This was his house. We've seen this one here. And well, I didn't want to leave without showing you a little more of this area where there are also some more abandoned houses. Here we were talking about how this was Mingo's grandmother's house, right?
Mingo's grandmother, who lived in a cabin, a little house, a bit further over there. But that house had one of the walls collapsed, that's it. And then she came to this house, which they rented to her. And she was living here, I don't know if it was with a niece or some other relative.
I'm going to tell you about the two women he told me used to sit here and talk to each other. That's it, that's it. Impressive. Impressive. I especially wanted to show you all of this here because it really caught my attention. This area is like a back street of the town, which I imagine used to be little alleys. He said everything was mostly fixed, but it still looks like an alley. The pavement never reached here. This is the back of the house. Seeing this is truly magical and impressive.
Alvaro, look at the window.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive.
It's holding up.
It's impressive. And all of this, it's beautiful, with these meadows on the sides. Yes, it's true that now I understand a little more what this man was telling me, that, well, this was a very difficult area for farming and all that, and that here everything was done very much by hand. There was another house here, and you can see how they're disappearing. And this is incredible. Look at the state of this.
This is Mingo's grandmother's cabin.
You mean this one here, right? That's it.
Look at the lintel that broke here. There must have been a weak spot in the wood and it broke. And now it's well overrun by hazel trees. Those stones are truly impressive. The work and love that went into each one.
Behind these walls, there was a family, alive, conversations. I also understand the situation of these people because in the end, you live in a city, coming here, sorting out all the family's paperwork, which is complicated. And in the end, it gets put off. And well, there are 1,000 different circumstances. Look at this one. Because the stairs are made of stone, I think we can even take a look here. Look, this is where you would get in to a house. And today it's forest, nothing but forest. Not even the dog wants to go down.
But look at the mark.
Well, look, there's a scratch in here. Yes, look, the cross of protection. The religious people who were here, it's a Templar cross also like this in the Templar shape. Yes, they used to make them at entrances for protection. There's probably another one nearby. Finally, I want to show you these last very striking houses. Let's go step by step. This one is also abandoned. Look, they put a chicken coop underneath to make use of the space. Look how beautiful they are.
Paco, Antonio's brother, lives in this chicken coop. A rooster we had.
Look.
And we gave it to someone from the village, yes.
Ultimately, the dog, the chickens, and everything else come from the nearby village naturally. Here there was part of the house that we saw from behind, where I peeked in. And as you saw, it was not accessible. And this one here is very beautiful, very unique, with the covered balcony. This detail of the cart here, completely abandoned. Look. What madness. An image from another time. Besides, people know that I love houses with corridors, and seeing one like this breaks me. But that's how it is.
That's how it is. In the end, it's disappearing, but it's still here.
Girls, thank you so much for the warm welcome and how you've treated me. I've fallen in love with this place, and I'm even considering getting something here. Although I'm very Asturian and hold on to my Horios and traditions, honestly, we're like cousins. Wherever you go, it's all the same.
She makes a mess out of it.
Are you going? Yes. Are you going to swim in the rivers? I've swum in some rivers. I'd love to. Come on. Well, that's it, ladies. Thank you so much. I'm going to share your channel again so that people who haven't seen it yet can take note and go watch the videos because they're really interesting. And that's it, just to let you know that we'll probably see each other next week in another adventure. I'll also leave my social media links as always in case you want to stay a bit more up to date with content I don't upload here on YouTube. See you in the next video. Bye. Bye.